Chinese Classics. Journey to the West. The fourth Wuxing Mountain learns from the truth. 500 years later, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva followed the decree of the Tathagata Buddha and brought 5 treasures including brocade robes to the East Earth Tang dynasty with Huiyan travelers, looking for people who went to the west to obtain the Tripitaka. The 2 masters and apprentices drove the clouds in mid-air and came to the sky above Chang'an, the capital of Tang dynasty. This is the 13th year of Zhengguan. This day was the day when Emperor Taizong Li Shimin ordered the eminent monk Chen Xuanzang to set up an altar in the Huasheng Temple to preach Buddhism. Chen Xuanzang was the reincarnation of Jin Chandzi, the second disciple of the Tathagata Buddha. Guanyin secretly selected him as a Buddhist monk. He and Huiyan Xingshi became Buddhist monks, holding a robe and waiting for the treasure to go outside the palace gate, asking to see Taizong Tang and give him a visit. Present treasure. Tang Taizong had always liked Buddhist scriptures, so he immediately called them to the temple and asked the treasures how much money they would cost in total. Guanyin said, "There is the Tripitaka from the Buddha of Tathagata. If you send Chen Xuanzang to the west to obtain the scriptures, these treasures will be given to you." After speaking, the traveler with Huiyan became the same as before, and he drove away. When Taizong saw it as Guanyin Bodhisattva, he quickly led Manchu civil and military officials to worship the sky. Tang Taizong was very happy, and he became a brother with Chen Xuanzang, and asked him to go to the western heaven to learn the scriptures, gave him the treasures such as the bodyguard robes, and changed his name to Tong Sanzhang. A few days later, when Tripitaka was about to set off, Emperor Taizong led all the civil and military officials to the outside of Chang'an city, bidding farewell to Tripitaka. Tang Sanzhang is also known as Tang Seng. He and 2 servants rushed for 2 days to the Famen temple, and the monks in the temple hurried out to greet them. In the evening, the monks sat together to discuss the difficulties and dangers of the journey to the west to learn the scriptures. Tang Seng pointed his heart to his heart and said, "As long as there is a firm belief, then any danger is nothing." The monks praised. The next day, Tang Seng's master and servant bid farewell to the monk in tears, and rode his horse to continue walking west. Within a few days, I arrived at Herdro, the border of Datong. The town's general soldier and local monk and Taoist took Tang monk's master and servant to Fuyuan temple to rest. Before dawn the next day, Seng Tang called the 2 servants, and the 3 drove on the road by moonlight. After a dozen miles of walking, I started going up the mountain. The road was undulating and overgrown with weeds, making it very difficult to walk. They had to walk while pulling weeds. Suddenly, the 3 of them and the horse fell into the pit together. When the 3 masters and servants were panicking, they suddenly heard the cry of "Grab! Grab!" With a gust of wind, a group of monsters appeared and captured the 3 masters and servants. Tang Seng took a peek, and there was a fierce-looking demon king sitting on it. The demon king gave an order, and the monsters tied Tang Seng's master and servants together. At this time, a little demon came to report, "Kun Xiangshan and the special agent are here." The demon king hurried out to greet him, and the 2 called the demon king General Yin. General Yin planned to entertain his guests with Tang Seng and others. Mr. Zhang Shun said, "Today, I will choose to eat 2. So General Yin cut the 2 of Tang Seng's servants by laparotomy and ate them alive. Tang Seng almost fainted with fright. It was almost dawn, and the monsters hid. Tang Seng was frightened and fell asleep groggily. Suddenly an old man with a cane slowly walked towards him, waved his hand, and the rope that bound Tang Seng was broken, and then blew him another breath. Tang Seng woke up and quickly bowed and thanked the old man. The old man said, "This place it's called Shuangqiling. It's a dangerous place." The old man asked Monk Tang to take the burden, led the horse, and led him to the road. Tang Seng quickly tied the horse and prepared to thank him. He looked up and saw that the old man had already flew away on a red-capped crane. A piece of paper fell from the air. Tang Seng took a look and realized that the old man was a platinum star. So he hurried, salute non-stop into the air. Tang Seng rode a horse and walked forward along the mountain road. After walking for a long time, no one was seen. He was thirsty and hungry and wanted to find some water to drink. Suddenly saw two ferocious tigers in front of them, opened their mouths, and looked around, and found that behind them were poisonous snakes vomiting red letters, poisonous insects on the left, and beasts that had never been seen on the right. Tang Seng was trapped in the middle, so anxious that he didn't know what to do, so he had to resign himself to his fate. At this critical juncture, the beasts all ran away suddenly. Tang Seng looked around in amazement, only to see a big man with a steel fork in his hand and a bow and arrow on his waist came over from the hillside. Tang Seng quickly knelt down, clasped his hands together and shouted, "Great King, help!" The big man picked up Tang Seng and said, "Where am I? What kind of king? I'm just a hunter named Liu Baqin." Liu Baqin invited Tang Seng to be a guest at home. Tang Seng was very happy and led the horse to Liu Baqin's home. The next day, Tang Seng was about to go on the road. According to his mother's instructions, Liu Baqin took a few people with hunting tools to give Tang Seng a gift. After walking for a long time, they came to a big mountain. When they walked halfway up the mountain, Liu Baqin and others stopped and said, "Elder, we are about to reach Liangjie Mountain. Shandong is under the control of Datong, and Shanxi is the territory of Tartar. We can't go there. Go by yourself. Be careful along the way." Tang Seng had to say goodbye to them, and suddenly heard someone shouting at the foot of the mountain, "Master! Come here! Master! Come here!" Tang Seng was frightened with fear. Liu Baqin hurriedly said, "Don't be afraid of the elders. I heard the old man say that when Wang Mang rebelled, this mountain fell from the sky, and there was a god monkey who was hungry and cold. It must have been the monkey who was yelling just now. Go over and take a look. This monkey is the Monkey King who was crushed by the Tathagata back then." When he saw Tang Seng, he shouted, "Master, save me quickly. I will protect you to the western heaven to learn the scriptures. A few days ago, the Guanyin Bodhisattva came to me and asked me to give it to you. Be an apprentice." Tang Seng was very happy when he heard it, but was very worried, and couldn't save Monkey King. Monkey King said that as long as the golden letters of the Tathagata Buddha on the top of the mountain were removed, it was enough. After Tang Seng removed the golden letters and pressed the post, according to Wukong's request, Liu Baqin and others retreated to a place 10 miles away and waited. Suddenly there was a loud noise like the sky and the earth cracking, and the 5 elements mountain split in half, and the sky was full of dust and sand, making people unable to open their eyes. When Tang Seng opened his eyes, Wukong was already kneeling on the ground and kowed out to him. Seeing him naked, Tang Seng took out a pair of shoes and a pair of trousers from his bag for him to put on. Liu Baqin was very happy to see that Tang Seng had accepted his apprentice. He bid farewell to Tang Seng and his apprentice and went home. Wukong immediately packed his luggage and set off with the master. It didn't take long for the master and apprentice to leave the border of Datong. Suddenly a big tiger jumped out of the grass. Sun Wukong hurriedly put down his luggage, took out the golden hoop from his ear, and said happily, "Old Sun hasn't used this baby for more than 500 years. Today I use it to make clothes and wear." With the tiger's death blow, the tiger died on the spot. Tang Seng saw it, so shocked that he couldn't even close his mouth. Wukong plucked a vellus hair, turned it into a sharp knife, peeled off the tiger's skin, and made a leather skirt around his waist. Then, he respectfully helped Tang Monk mount his horse, and his apprentice continued on his way. Suddenly there was a whistle, and 6 robbers jumped out to snatch their horses and luggage. Wukong put down his luggage and smiled and said, I was also the king of the mountain. Divide the gold and silver jewelry you grabbed into half of me. When the robbers heard this, their hair stood up with anger, and they headed towards Wukong with their swords and guns, up and down. But Ping Pong Pong hacked 7 or 80 times, and it didn't hurt Wukong half of his hair. Seeing that they were tired from fighting, Wukong shouted, it's time for my grandson to play. He took out the golden hoop and beat them one by one, and the 6 bandits turned into meat sauce. Tang Seng was very upset when he saw it and said, although they are robbers, they are not going to be killed. How can you go to the west to learn scriptures if you are so cruel? Amitabha. Sun Wukong could not bear the anger of others the most. He listened to what Master said, unable to suppress the anger in his heart, and said loudly, since Master said this, then I will not go to the west to learn the scriptures. Go by yourself, old grandson. But I'm going back to Huagua Mountain. After speaking, he jumped, drove on the somersault cloud, and flew east. When Tang Seng raised his head, he could no longer see Monkey King. Tang Seng had no choice but to put his luggage on the back of his horse, leaning on the tin rod in one hand and the horse in the other, and walked slowly westward. Before long, he saw an old woman on the opposite side with a piece of clothing in her hand, and a flower hat. Tang Seng hurriedly held the horse, clasped his hands together, and gave way to the old woman. The old woman walked up to Tang Seng and said, where are you from? How come you walk in the mountains alone? Tang Seng told the old woman about Wukong's disobedience. The old woman smiled slightly and said, I will give you a dress and a flowered hat for your disobedient apprentice. Tang Seng smiled bitterly and said, oh, the apprentice is gone. What's the use of these? The old woman smiled and said, don't worry, I will find the apprentice for you. Here I am. There is another one. The spell, called the Hoops spell, must be kept in your heart. You let your apprentice wear this dress and a hat. If he doesn't obey anymore, he will recite the spell, and he dare not listen. Tang Seng learned the hooping spell, bowed his head and thanked the old woman. At this time, the old woman had turned into a golden light and flew east. Tang Seng looked up and saw that it was Guanyin Bodhisattva. He hurriedly knelt down and kowtows. Then he put his coat and hat in his bag, sat on the side of the road, and stepped up to recite the Hoops mantra until he was memorable. Guanyin Bodhisattva drove auspicious clouds and didn't go very far, and ran into Monkey King who was coming from the east. It turned out that after Wukong left Tang Seng, he had a meal at the Dragon King of the East China Sea, and under the painstaking advice of the Dragon King, he changed his mind. Guanyin Bodhisattva told him to return to Tang Seng as soon as possible. Wukong said goodbye to Guanyin Bodhisattva and chased Tang Seng. Seeing Tang Seng, Wukong said about going to the Dragon King to eat again, and then asked, Master, you are hungry too. I'm going to make some fast food. Tang Seng shook his head and said, no need. There is still some dry food in the baggage. You can bring it to Master. Wukong opened his bag and found that the clothes and hats given by Guanyin Bodhisattva were very beautiful. So he asked Tang Seng for it. Tang Seng nodded and agreed. Wukong was so happy that he scratched his head and put on his clothes and hat. Tang Seng wanted to try the magic spell, so he chanted it in a low voice. Wukong immediately rolled on the floor in pain, desperately pulling the hat. But the hat looked like it was in the flesh, and he couldn't take it off, and he couldn't tear it. Wukong realized that his headache was because Master was chanting a mantra, and he shouted, Master, stop chanting, stop chanting. Secretly took out the golden cudgel, trying to beat Tang Seng to death. When Tang Seng saw it, he chanted the curse faster and faster. Wukong's head hurts more and more. He had no choice but to kneel and beg for mercy. Master, I was wrong. The disciple knew it was wrong, so stop chanting the curse. Seeing that he had known his mistake, Tang Seng was silent. Wukong's head no longer hurts immediately. He thought this mantra must have been taught by Guanyin Bodhisattva. So he clamored to go to the South China Sea to find Guanyin Bodhisattva to settle accounts. Tang Seng said, "Since she can teach me this tight-fitting curse, she will definitely chant it too." Wukong took a sharp breath and stopped being mad, vowing to listen to Master's words in the future and protect Tang Seng Shitian from learning the scriptures. Thank you very much. See you next time.